Hey, this is Danielle from Black Business Boom and Black Owned Nashville, and I'm honored to be introducing to you our new auto and home insurance expert, Jeff Flowers. Jeff has so much experience in this industry. He has been a highly awarded insurance salesperson for over 28 years, and he's going to be coming to us, educating us every month about how to get the best rates and all other things that we need to know about auto and home insurance. He's bringing his background working for four of the largest insurance companies in America, including Allstate, AAA, and State Farm. So I'm super excited because this is something I'm like, I need to understand. Why are my rates so high? And Jeff is going to help us and give us some tips today on how we can bring those rates down for our auto and home insurance. Welcome, Jeff. Thank you so much for joining the team.
No problem. Thank you for having me aboard. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I know that there's a lot that we don't understand about insurance. So I'm
Yes.
really happy to be able to bring this information to the community and to bring it from someone who has such an extensive background. So tell us a little bit, let's learn a little bit more about that background. I know I mentioned that you work for four of the top insurance agencies, but tell us a little bit more about your background in insurance.
Sure. I started out in college working for an Allstate agency. I was there for 4 years. Eventually get to be the office manager there. From there, I left to go to AAA Michigan. I worked there at their corporate office for 4 years. I was one of their top salespeople in their member service center. I also went over to underwriting for a couple of years. From there, I left to go to State Farm. I was one of the top State Farm agents in the country for up until about 2019. And then from there, I was still in Michigan. My business was in Michigan, but my family had moved down here to Tennessee. So I eventually decided to pack up my business in Michigan, move it down here to Tennessee. So I opened a large insurance agency here in Murfreesboro. And I've been operating, it was 2 years as of last month.
Congratulations. That is amazing. And it's just
Thank
amazing
you.
to
Thank
see,
you.
a black man that literally owns his own agency that I can ride over there and come over and get the help that I need. So I love it.
Yes. All right.
Again, I want
Appreciate
to
it.
welcome you to the team. And if anyone does have questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. But let's get into some tips because
Sure.
I think a lot of us are like trying to figure out how do we get lower rates. Let's start with our auto insurance. So, what
Sure.
tips can you give us on our auto insurance and the things that may be driving our rates up and anything we can do to bring them down?
Right. Well, there's a couple things you can do immediately. Then the other things you can do are long term. I'll start with the immediate thing. The immediate things is you always want to get a review with your current company, and also check with other companies as well to see to make sure you're getting your best price. So that's the first thing. If you feel you're paying too much, you want to get somewhere, call around. You want to try all the major players. You also want to try some of the smaller ones too. You again, if pricing is an issue, you may be able to get sacrifice price for service. My obvious recommendation is you want to stay with the bigger companies because you're going to get a better claim experience. You want to make sure you have a company that's going to be there for you. If you're paying for insurance, you want to be able to actually use it in the event of a loss. So that's my biggest advice. But anytime you want to get your agent to give you a review, make sure you check your usage, how they have your vehicle rated. A lot of people are working from home now. So if you have updated your policy in a long time, you may be still being rated for driving to work, back and forth to work, where that's something that can immediately reduce your rates. The other thing you could do, take a look at to see is make sure how much liability coverage you have. Some people have more liability than they may need. Some people have far less liability than they need. So those are the type of things where you want to make sure you're protected that way, and you make sure you're
How
getting the
do
right
we
prices for that.
determine like that how much liability insurance we actually need?
A competent insurance salesperson should be able to give you an idea what amount of coverage you should have. The state minimum in Tennessee is $25,000 per person and 50,000 per accident. That I would recommend that to younger people, people just starting out, people with not a lot of assets to protect. That's a good level of coverage to have. Now, if you own a home, you have significant savings, retirement, you want to definitely make sure you have at least 100,000 per person, 300,000 per accident, upwards to 250,000 per person, 500 per accident, and then even there, you need to discuss having an umbrella policy, which could broaden the amount of coverage you carry upwards to $2 million. Those are the things you want. You want to talk to a competent insurance professional that can review your situation and give you an idea where your best level of protection will be.
I'm not aware of umbrella policies. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that means?
Sure. Umbrella policy is a policy that will give you additional coverage beyond what you would carry under your auto and your home insurance. Like, for example, when I mentioned for auto insurance, you should, with umbrella policies, they say the bare minimum amount of coverage you should have is 250,000 per person, 500,000 per accident. What that means is if you're involved in an automobile accident, the most any one driver can sue you for is $250,000. The most they'll pay out for the entire accident is 500,000. With an umbrella policy, you can extend it upwards to, so you go upwards to 5 million, depends on the company. But typically, most people with the umbrella policy will purchase up to $1 million worth of coverage. So once you exhaust the limits under your auto insurance policy, then the additional monies will come out of the umbrella policy. And that also covers you under your home insurance as well. So typically under a home insurance policy, you want to have at least about $300,000 liability. And then if you were to sustain a loss that will go above that amount, the additional monies comes out of the umbrella policy.
Okay, that's good to know. So let's talk a little bit
Yes,
about home insurance policies.
sure.
Are there also things that we should be considering when we to reduce, our rates on our home insurance policies?
Oh, definitely, definitely. You definitely want to be able to make sure that your house is insured to the correct replacement value. Now, a lot of times with people, they'll look at replacement value and market value are two different things, especially right now in Middle Tennessee. Obviously, the market is incredible. So you may have a situation where the replacement value of your home may be, I'll just use round numbers, let's say 250,000. That's the amount that the insurance company is calculating will be, it would take to replace your house if you were to sustain a total loss. Like, unfortunately, like we had when the tornadoes came through a couple of years ago, or
Mhm.
there was a significant fire. Now, but let's say, for example, depending where your house is located, the actual value of your house may be $500,000. Now, some people who will think that they need to have their house insured to the actual value of the home, which is not correct, because insurance companies will only pay for the amount that's going to replace your house as it currently stands. So let's say, for example, you have an older home, 1980s or below construction,
Mhm.
and even though it's in an area where the prices have increased, you're going to be in a situation where if you haven't made significant updates to your home, and if you were insuring it for 500,000, which was the actual market value, in the event the loss came through, the insurance company is going to assess it to say, well, these were the building materials that your house were made of. These were the construction type that you had. We're only going to place a $250,000 structure. So insuring it for 500,000 means you're overinsured. And a lot of times, where when people you get a mortgage, your mortgage company will tell you that you need to have your house insured for the value of the mortgage, which is something you can negotiate between your mortgage lender and the insurance company to make sure to see if where there's a middle ground and say, well, we're insuring it for replacement costs. We've had to do this recently with a lot of mortgage companies. They want us to send them over a copy of our replacement cost estimator to show that the actual replacement of the house is much less than the mortgage. So you should be okay with them insuring it for the amount of the replacement, because the mortgage company wants to make sure they're going to recoup their investment. So,
Yeah.
but insurance companies is only going to pay out what they're responsible for paying. If you have a $250,000 construction house, that's the most they're going to pay out, even if you're insuring it for 700,000.
Oh, okay. So we may be over insured. We may have policy that's, and are there also situations where we may be under insured and
Oh,
need to
very, very much so. Yes, like in the same example I gave. Let's say, for example, you bought a house that was 1980s construction, and you made significant investments to it. And put in all new flooring, new windows, put an addition on the house. Those are things you definitely want to make sure that's going to change the replacement value of your home in the event you sustain a loss. So, for example, you may have bought that $250,000 construction house and put another $150,000 worth of improvements in there. So now you need to insure it for 400,000. But if you haven't reviewed that with your insurance agent, let them know of the improvements you made. You may be underinsured, and even if a loss, you're not going to recoup back your investment.
I love it. This is very, very helpful. So, if
Okay.
someone has a policy, I know you suggested that they get a policy review with their existing company, but if someone were like, "Hey, Jeff, can you look over my policy and see if I am all good, or if you may be able to save me some money?" Will you do that?
Oh, of course, yes. Obviously, I'm in business to gain new customers, but also I'm always here to talk to people about what they can do to put themselves in a good position. I talk to give unsolicited advice all the time. So
I
the
love it.
easiest way to reach out, yeah, there's a couple different ways to reach me. The first is you can go to my website. You can go to jefflowers.net. That'll direct you to my website. It has all my contact information there to contact me here at my office. You can also reach me at 629-237-9453. That gets you to my office number, and you can ask for me, and then we can sit down and discuss what your insurance needs are.
I love it. This was extremely helpful. Again, this is something that I'm so happy to have someone come to us and explain it because there are just so many ins and outs. And I know so many people have found themselves in bad situations, especially from being underinsured.
Correct.
And I mentioned a while back, we were talking to Amy Brown, our insurance, our expert in injury law.
Okay.
And she was like, okay, you have to make sure that you have the right coverage. And I'm like, I don't know how to do that. Like now we're doing a
Exactly.
lot
Yeah.
of things online where we're like really piecing these policies together ourselves. And most of the time we're just like, I just want the best rate, and many times that may put us in a situation where we don't have the coverage that we need. But I'm used to, like, back in the day, you just called up the insurance company and said, I want full coverage. And then they just gave you full coverage. I don't know what that meant, but now you kind of have to know a little bit more to choose
Ex-
the right things.
Exactly. Exactly. Insurance companies have made it pretty easy for people to go online and to purchase their own policies. But you really should work with an insurance professional who can go through and review your policy and tailor it for your situation.
I can
Not to
see
say
that.
right now, an average person can do it is you can go online and get coverage, but you want to make sure you're protected. I had a real good friend of mine one day. We were sitting out and we were talking one day having drinks, and he was talking about his insurance policy. He said, "Oh, why would I need an insurance agent? I can just go online and do it myself." And then I asked him, "All right, let me see your policy." He pulled it up, and this is a gentleman who executive for the company, and obviously makes seven figures a year. Has a big beautiful house in Brentwood, and then I looked at this policy. I'm like, well, wow, you have the state minimum for liability coverages. And he's like, right, yeah, I want to make my policy as cheap as possible. And from there, I told him, I said, let's sit down. We need to sit down and talk. So I went and reviewed it with him. We went over his policy. I gave him a lot of suggestions he needed to do in order to get him correctly insured. Because God forbid he would have gotten into an accident, he would have found himself well undercover.
Okay, good to know. Well, Jeff is here. He
Yeah.
is now a resource for the community. So if you are looking to have your policy reviewed for home or auto, give Jeff a call. He gave his phone number, but you can also go to jeffflowers.net. All of his information to contact him is there as well. Again, he's here to
Yeah.
help the community. So make sure you reach out to him. I think it's really important that when we have these resources, these people who are experts in what they do that are offering help to our community, that we take them up on it. So if you're tuned in, go and check out jeffflowers.net. Reach out to Jeff, ask for a policy review, or just ask him to take a look and see if he may be able to save you some money. Thank you so much, Jeff. We really appreciate you for
All right,
joining
no problem.
the team and offering to help. I was like, is that
All
the
right.
door? Oh,
Yeah, no, but actually, my phone is actually ringing. Hold on one second.
okay. But
Thank
Jeff
you for
is going
calling.
to be
Jeff
coming
Flowers
to
speaking.
us every month. Well, somebody's calling. So Jeff is going to be coming to us every month as our insurance expert in auto and home. So again, jeffflowers.net is where you can reach him and you can learn more about his agency, and you can also find his information in order to reach out to him. Again, thank you so much, Jeff. We really appreciate you. Love what you're doing.
No
And I
problem.
look forward to talking to you again next month with some more tips for the community.